Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Full-on, your Fulham-centric football podcast. Today, I'm joined by Drew and by Mozza. How you doing, guys?
Doing well, Ash.
Very good, thank you.
Obviously, following on from last week's slightly disappointing result at Old Trafford, we have our first home game of the season this weekend where we face Leicester at home. I don't know about you guys, but I am absolutely buzzing to get back to football and getting back to the cottage. It's going to be a joy. Mozza, talking about the game coming up on Saturday, what are your expectations? Are you excited for the game?
My expectations are a draw, a point away. Sorry, a point at home to an away side. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we can do it. I've obviously watched the highlights of the game that Leicester did against Spurs, and there's nothing too scary there for me. Some points I want to bring up later, but I'm up for it, and so should everyone else be.
What about yourself, Drew?
Looking to welcome back Bobby REID. Still miss him. Think he's going to be good for Leicester. They should have been dead and buried on Monday night against Spurs, but Spurs are Spurs. And they, as always, revealed their soft underbelly, and Leicester hung around. I think that we could well be facing them with new signings in the team. If Anderson and Berg get registered in time, I fully expect us to be able to win this. And I kind of think we will. But, you know, they'll be up for it. I mean, they're not relegated yet, but we've got to definitely capitalise when we're on top. So, yeah, I cannot wait to get back to the cottage. I mean, we are a few months away from having a completely open, completed stadium. So it'll be nice to see a big crowd, a bigger crowd than I've ever seen there. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, obviously, unfortunately, we did originally plan to have a guest from one of the Leicester podcasts join us for this show, but
They bottled it,
understandably,
man.
because of their understandably from most of them, that because of their game being on Monday night and their own recording times, they just weren't available tonight for us to record the preview. I'm not going to say they bottled it, but
That's all right, man.
it does mean
it does mean they're pussies.
Yeah, well, there you go. It does mean that we get to talk about this game being a bit more from a Fulham point of view, which is exciting. Obviously, the game on Friday night, as we spoke about quite length on Sunday, we came away a bit disappointed too. We're hoping that the Sanderberg and Anderson deals can get through and done in time. Both, as we record this on Wednesday, meant to have completed their medicals, but we all know those famous 3-day medicals at Fulham, and God knows what that means in terms of them being registered in time to play on Saturday. We're not like Chelsea; we don't have the luck of accidentally forgetting to register a player for a matchday squad. So, we need to have them available. I'm quite positive that if they do come in and they're available to play, that we'll be very, very strong for our opening game of the season at home on Saturday. Drew, we were speaking last week about the importance that these signings coming through to give Marco the squad that he wants. And obviously, you just mentioned Anderson and Berg as two players that are coming in. Do you think that the squad's shaping up nicely? Is it still really frustrating that we're waiting till a week into the season before we're making these signings rather than during the preseason, or is it just a case of we know what these deals mean?
I think that I'm going to be brutally honest, Ash. And you and I were talking off air a couple of days ago with the boys. We still have both as individuals and collectively PTSD from the first season that we got promoted under Djukanovic. And I think you put it out on Twitter that we started the season. What was it, pre-season with 14 first team players, was it, Ash?
We had 14, 13 players and 4 were goalkeepers. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
And it was awful. It was awful by any stretch of the imagination. And it was a running joke that Djukanovic spent all of his time up until he was sacked trying to work out what his best team was because everyone arrived so late. Contrast that with this summer, and yes, I appreciate Marco didn't get who he wanted when he wanted, i.e. before pre-season, but I'm a little bit more relaxed, and fair play to Fulham. Yeah, they seem to have pulled their fingers out, because there is no one amongst the Craven Cottage faithful that wants to see another 5 players landing in the last week of the transfer window. It's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. So we still have a Polinius-shaped hole in the CDM position. I've said it before in this podcast, and I don't want to repeat myself because I know we're limited for time, but everyone and his brother knew Polini was going. For the life of me, I don't understand how that wasn't one of the priority positions and why it hasn't been sorted. A bit like Mitrovic, because we all knew last year that he was finished with English football. That I don't understand. But to be fair to the club, they seem to have moved quicker than they usually do. It's very un-Fulhamish, if I can put it like that. I mean, if we'd have been talking about this like on August the 30th, and Berg and Anderson had turned up along with Sessegnon, no one would have batted an eyelid, because that's how we do things. But I'm pleased that they're arriving when they are.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that they're both really good signings too. I think we all know what we're going to get from Anderson. We were all kind of unlucky, unless you're one of those people that were lucky to get a ticket for the lockdown balloted games. Not many of us have seen him play live in a Fulham shirt, other than on TV. And I've seen him play for Palace a few times. It's no secret, obviously, living in Croydon, that I have a few Palace mates, and I've been to Palace a few times, and I've always been really impressed with him. And as much as they may say it behind the mask and pretend like they're okay with him leaving, they are not okay with him leaving. They did not want to lose him as a player, and I think that speaks sort of miles for him. And I think Sander Berg, there's been some Fulham fans sort of turning their nose up at him because he's been relegated twice in the last couple of years. Well, let's be honest, there's 4 or 5 members of our own squad that have been relegated twice with us. So let's not pull our noses up at that. And being relegated as a footballer doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad footballer. It just means you're in a bad squad. You had a bad year. It happens. Mozza, looking at the 2 signings that we know, they haven't been announced yet. By the time this comes out on Friday, we're all hoping that they have been announced and they're registered to play on the weekend. Are you excited about getting Anderson back? Are you excited about the possible signing of Sander Berg? What do you feel about it?
I wasn't, and I am now, only because I've been schooled on how much potential these fellas have. I know we had Anderson before, and I've said it before in a previous podcast, that I don't like the fact that we try to re-sign old players. I haven't been excited about Sessegnon coming back. Sorry, guys. And there's other players as well. Anderson, I almost had a fallout with some other mates on another Fulham WhatsApp chat that I've got going on. I'm 2-timing you guys. But
You slut.
But they said to me, "Why aren't you excited?" And I was like, "Well, I don't really see what everyone is fussed about." And then they showed me a video, and it's changed my mind. And I've gone, okay, he is really good at doing the low balls and the dribbling passes. And I think it could be good for us. I just wonder where he's going to sit in our defence. Sander Berg, I'll be completely honest with you. I don't really know anything about him, but I agree with you, Ash. We've had many players in our team that have been relegated twice, and we've still got them in our squad. So who knows? But that's my thoughts on those 2.
I think Anderson fits in quite well as a right-handed centre back. He's quite versatile as a centre back. He can play on both sides, and I think he'll complement Bassi extremely well. I think Bassi is a good ball-winning defender. He's very good at reading the game. Anderson's strength tends to be having the ball at his feet, and he's a very good, almost like quarterback style centre back. He has a long range pass with an ability that we've not seen in a long while. And instantly, the thought of having Bassi and Anderson as the 2 centre backs that Leno is trying to play with the ball with at the back calms my nerves way more than knowing that it's a Diop. So, I'm very excited about having Anderson back. I think that most of the people that maybe aren't excited about having him back maybe don't understand his game as much as as they could. Probably not watched him play for Palace as much as they could in the last couple of years. It's absolutely fine, Mozza, that you've not that. He's a very good ball playing centre back, and it's something that we know Marco likes that style of the centre back. And I think he'll be a great addition to the squad. Sander Berg, he's a good box-to-box midfielder. He's very good on the ball. He's been kind of unlucky in the sense of maybe the teams he's played for haven't been really set up for his style of play so much. But he's a very good player. And we shouldn't turn our nose up at getting him in the squad. I think he'll complement Sasha Lukic quite well. And we know that, the player we're desperately trying to replace is Paulinho. Realistically, we're not going to find a replacement for Paulinho who can do what Paulinho did. So my thinking is that maybe the club are trying to cover it in the average and get players that can do it together. But we still need that gaping hole at CDM filled, and I still think there'll be a player to come in that position.
Ash,
But
I think you may be right about that, but it does concern me because I think a pure CDM. Let's be honest, we're going to be playing teams where we're not going to have the ball a lot, and we are going to have to defend. And I just think the better teams will expose that, and that's what worries me. And you're quite right. Everything you said about Berg is quite right. He's a powerful 8. He likes to drive forward. He has played CDM, but it's not his natural position. So I think, unfortunately, you might be right about the CDM position. I mean, I wouldn't be upset. I mean, Andre. we could have a whole podcast about him and the pursuit of Andre in Brazil. I do wonder if we're going to go back in for De Souza. I do wonder. But I think if both are registered by tomorrow, and by the way, I endorse everything you said about Anderson. I like Diop, but he's not a ball-playing centre-half. Tosin's gone. Ream's gone. And Bassi is in my mind, the only permanent fixture in the centre of defence. I've got a sneaky feeling if both are registered, we'll definitely see Anderson on Saturday. Definitely. Not sure about Berg, but I think Anderson goes straight into the team.
Yeah, I think Berg's maybe struggled a bit of fitness. He didn't really have a pre-season. And obviously he's been flirting with United over the last couple of weeks as well. And from my understanding from seeing Burnley fans talking on Twitter is that he isn't really match fit at the moment. So, he may take a while, but that seems to be one of the things we're doing at the moment. We've signed 2 or 3 players that maybe their fitness levels aren't quite 100% where they should be. But, hopefully the 2 players coming in will fit some of the holes that Marco has. And, we'll build that squad for him that he knows he deserves. As we look to the game on Saturday, Leicester as a proposition, as a opposition. Watching their game on Monday night, I was a bit confused about how hard this game's going to be for us, because you're right, Drew. They were blown away quite a lot by Tottenham. If Tottenham could score, they would have been 4-5-0 up before Leicester even looked like they had a chance. I think I'm right in saying that Jamie Vardy scored with Leicester's first shot on target. Leicester do have some players in their squad we have to watch out for, and they're as a team, they're not mugs. They've got a lot of Premier League experience. Inexperience in the sense of this Premier League now, because it's changed a lot even since they've been down and come back up again. That's the nature of the Premier League. But I want to know what we're expecting from Leicester on Saturday. So Mozza, what are you expecting the prospect of playing them to be?
I'd love a win, obviously. When I was watching the highlights back, as I said earlier, delighted to see all of them back at the King Power Stadium again. I think Drew might be very opposite to how I feel, but I have a little bit of a soft spot for Leicester. Don't worry, I'm not going to switch sides or anything, but it was nice to see Bobby Reid start for them. Also nice to see Vardy back in the Premier League, and as I heard the commentaries say, it was the 137th Premier League goal for him for a man who's 37 years old. So wonder how lefty's got long in the tank, but fair play to him. I think Steve Cooper's got a massive job on his hands. I think he should have been given more time at Forest, but I think he'll do better at Leicester. And I think he'll keep them as a staple team in the league. And again, rightly so, good luck to them. They're going to be a tough opponent. I really think they are. But I was lucky enough to be at the Cottage when we did annihilate them the time before. And I'd like to see that again. So I really don't know. Like, I'm a little bit more anxious about us going against United away. I really can't call this one, but I did say at the beginning, I think it might be a draw, 1-1, get a point each. There you go.
Oh, well, we'll see about it. We'll do our predictions in a minute. Drew, obviously with the game coming up on the weekend, who do you think are the Leicester players that we, as a team, we need to be watching out for, particularly in terms of the danger?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Bobby Reid is still capable of scoring goals. Vardy's still capable of scoring goals. It was quite interesting watching the analysis of them on Monday night, and someone pointed out that the team that went down is arguably not as strong as the team that's come up with the people they've lost. Mozza talks about the last game at the Cottage when did we stick 5 past them, or was it 4? I can't remember.
I think it was
5-2, yeah.
5-2. They literally phoned it in that day. I mean, it was disgraceful. It really was. I felt quite sorry for their fans, because their fans were the only people that turned up. And I think it will be harder for the simple reason is because they'll be more excited and more enthusiastic, and the attitude will be better. I think this game is as hard as we want it to be. It's as simple as that. I think we've got a better team. I think we've got better players. I think we're at home. So it's probably got a 1-0 away win written all over it. But if Fulham score early, I expect them to get at least 2. I'm not saying Leicester won't score, but you've got to respect Vardy, but he's not as fast as he was. But you still know where the goal is. I think we can control the midfield, and I think, like I said, it will be as difficult as we make it. It will be as difficult.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think it's one of those ones that the impetus is really going to be on us on Saturday. I think we really have to take the game to them, and we need to, as we said on Friday in our preview show, and we said on Sunday, we need to go into games against teams that we believe are bigger than us without that fear factor, and we need to go into games like this where we are the established Premier League team with the confidence that we are the established Premier League team. And that we should be going in thinking that they've got to come to us and do something to us, not that we've got to stop them. They're going to really have to stop us and be on their game. I'm quite positive about the game on Saturday. Actually, I'm looking forward to Bobby Reid coming back. It'd be nice for him to get a bit of a reception from the fans after the game. Lose 3-0 and then get capped off. That's fine by me. I think he deserves it. We all spoke about how much of a loss he was to us and that he didn't stay. I think he's a great signing for them. And I think they've actually made a few quite smart transfer decisions this summer in terms of preparing, maybe not even for this year, but for next year, who knows? But it's not the worst idea for them, some of the things they're doing. Let's go into it though. Last thing we'll do before we leave is obviously give our match predictions for the game. I know you both sort of given an insight into what you're thinking, but Mozza, give me a scoreline prediction for Saturday, and if Fulham are going to score, who's going to score Fulham's goal?
I'm going to say 1-1, and for some really weird reason, and don't ask me why, I'm going to say Sasa Lukic is going to score the goal.
Okay, and Drew, yourself?
3-1 Fulham. I hope Lukic is now on penalty duties, because he is a very good penalty taker. Who's going to score? Go with Muniz. Go with Traore just for a laugh, and Iwobi. So I think
I'm going to go
3-1.
3-1. Okay, I'm going to go with 2-1. But maybe I'm gonna put us to go 2-0 up, and then Leicester score sort of late on and make the last sort of 3 or 4 minutes
That would be
as
very
uncomfortable
Fulhamish.
as they can be. But I've got a funny feeling that Emil Smith Rowe might have a good game on Saturday, especially his first game at the Cottage if he plays. And I've got a sneaky suspicion that Muniz has been holding back a bit. So it'd be nice to see him score as well. But let's go into the game positive when we review the game early next week, and we talk about what it is. Obviously, we want to come out of it having super confident result and being confident from Saturday. Thanks very much for joining me tonight, guys. Obviously, that's the game ready for
Pleasure.
Saturday. Come on, you Whites.